Well, I think, I mean, there are unfortunately efforts by many in Congress to underfund EPA research, to underfund EPA inspections. We know what we've done in our state, from cleaning up Lake Erie to making the Ohio River cleaner, to what we've done with treating streams and brooks and all and rivers in Ohio. So I'm always for an EPA, for supporting an EPA, doing investigation, making sure we protect drinking water and clean water levels with nitrates or any other kind of substance. We've run into those issues, especially in the Toledo area with drinking water, with microcystin, and we need to make sure we stay on top of it better, I think, than some have. Well, I think we have a state EPA that sometimes has looked the other way when it comes to pressure from industry on clean water and safe drinking water. We have efforts in Congress to overturn EPA decisions on clean air. And I mean, one of the successes in this country, though one of the many successes in the last 50 years, is a cleaner Ohio River, a cleaner Lake Erie, a safer, cleaner air in the air we breathe. I think we've paid a lot of attention getting the government to work together with industry to clean our air and water, and I don't want to see us backslide. Some special interest groups, both in Columbus and in Washington, have pushed Congress to do that, and too many in Congress have succumbed to it. Yeah, I'm concerned anytime we send troops to the Middle East. I opposed a decade plus ago the whole idea of going to war in Iraq. I think that ended up the disaster that it's been in terms of sparking the creation of ISIS and giving Al-Qaeda a more fertile field than they had throughout Asia. But I think that the direction the president's going in, as long as we draw a line, we're not sending combat troops. You know, whether it's Ukraine or whether it's the Middle East. We are helping to train local troops. We draw that line boldly and brightly. I can support that, but putting soldiers and putting our troops in harm's way in a war that has dragged on from Afghanistan to Iraq for far too long with American troops would be the wrong thing. So I think the president has created that line pretty boldly. Well, I think that it's their problem in the Middle East. It's the U.S.'s role and NATO's role, our allies, not NATO specifically, but our NATO allies' role to assist in that. But it's their fight in their backyard. I think that the American public saw us send troops to Iraq in part because of oil. In the past, I think we have become a nation that's much more energy self-sufficient, and sending troops in places where oftentimes they're not wanted and oftentimes they become targets is bad foreign policy. And I think that we've gotten ourselves in a place where training these troops makes sense. Something more than that doesn't. I support medical marijuana. I still have questions about the overall use, the legalization of marijuana. I want to see what the state of Colorado, the success or lack of success, the problems that have cropped up in Colorado as a result of legalization of marijuana. I would not support it until I can really see those questions answered, but I think marijuana for medicinal use has been proven, is helpful, has made a difference in a number of people's lives. I think we go there. I'm not sure any further than that. I think the public needs to learn more before voting on something like that and understanding it better. Healthcare is still too expensive. The government should have I think the government, the way that we do in the Veterans Administration, should negotiate the cost of prescription drugs with the drug companies. The VA does that, Canada does that. They have much less expensive pharmaceuticals as a result. I think the Affordable Care Act, which has brought consumer protections that have really mattered. You can't cut somebody off their insurance anymore because they got sick, or the insurance companies can't deny coverage because of a pre-existing condition. All that's been major progress. Is hundreds of thousands of Ohioans are now on their parents' health insurance or have insurance as a result of the Affordable Care Act, and we've seen health care prices stabilize much more than any time in the last 50 years. So the Affordable Care Act has helped us make that progress. It's not the whole answer, but it's made a lot of it's made literally millions of people's lives in Ohio better, from seniors who are getting free with no copay, no deductible, preventive care, osteoporosis and arthritis screenings, and other kinds of preventive care, and it's made a difference for a lot of families, and it's helped to flatten healthcare costs, and that's a win for this state. Well, government should do what we've done bipartisanly for years. That means pass a long-term transportation bill. We know the needs from in central Ohio, where 71 and 70 come together. We know the Bryn Spence Bridge in Cincinnati. We know what's happening in Dayton and Toledo with our city streets, or in Steubenville, and that's because the federal government hasn't done its job and state government hasn't done its job in investing in infrastructure. So we need a long-term highway infrastructure bill. It'll create tens of thousands of jobs in Ohio. We need to move on the Export-Import Reauthorization Bank, which clearly creates jobs in our state. We've always done that bipartisanly. Congress should do it bipartisanly again and stop the politics and the dysfunction of leadership in the House and Senate, which has caused us not to get done what the American public wants us done, and that's significantly better job growth that Congress has stopped.